what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. DBougie86 here again. And if you can see, I posted 2 reviews today. So what I decided to do for certain aspects of like my 31 days of horror reviewing is I actually watch a lot of movies, not just horror movies, during even the month of October. And I want to talk about them. So what I've decided to do is throw in a few like bonus reviews throughout the 31 days. And this will be known as bonus review number 1. It's going to be under the 31 Days of Horror playlist. So if you want to check it out, check it out. If not, you still got all the other horror stuff that's going to be reviewed this October. But this one's actually a very interesting watch because this is another release from Unearthed Films that I checked out this day, and it was very interesting enough that I watched this one. It's actually titled Footsteps. Yes. If you don't know about this film is actually the directorial debut of Gareth Evans. If that name sounds familiar for you, you've probably seen at least 2 of his films that are very popular out there. Of course, The Raid and The Raid 2. Yes, this is a film from the same director as The Raid and The Raid 2. And he also is probably known for directing that segment of VHS 2 with The Cult. I can't think of the name of it off my head, but he directed that segment also, one of the Moe brothers. And of course, this is his directorial debut, going to his roots where he actually, this is actually a British film, I believe Welsh actually, where this was filmed, and it then he moved to like across the way and made The Raid later on in his career. But this is a very interesting watch, I have to say. Not really a horror film, but has some dark subject matter. And pretty much the main plot of this one, we're introduced to our main character, Andrew, who's this very young and kind of lost individual as we meet him, because we know that his parents have passed away. He's lost a lot of his friends in the process of this ordeal, where he kind of disconnects himself with his friends and his loved ones, especially the girl that he likes, as we see in like certain scenes. And what ends up happening is Andrew, after he loses his job also, gets involved with this shady like underground of snuff films pretty much. He ends up hooking up with these individuals and becoming part of snuff making pretty much. Now, what ends up happening is Andrew's stability ends up going down this dark path where he's trying to figure out what he's right and wrong in the way of the world, especially during this seedy underworld that he's a part of now. And it turns into a very dark and disturbing character study, this film. Now, that's pretty much the main plot of it without going too crazy. Now, my thoughts on it. Really gripping stuff. I really love like the opening shots of this film. The aesthetic of like the way Gareth Evans directed his directorial debut are outstanding. It's a really gripping and spellbinding experience of a film. Now, this film, the way I would describe this film is a mixture of like a Taxi Driver with Sheena Toscamato's Bullet Ballet. It has like that same aesthetic feel and tone of Bullet Ballet, if you ever seen that film. Really great film too if you haven't seen it. And pretty much it's like this character study of this young individual that is kind of like a British version of Travis Bickle in a way. The way that his character develops and the outcome of his character also is very reminiscent of Mr. Bickle. And it's just a great performance. The main actor does a great job in this role. And the aesthetic of the soundtrack's amazing. It has a great like aesthetic synth soundtrack with like this really high octane like synth like punk like not punk like pop music that plays during like the club scenes. And it's just a really interesting watch that I think if you're a fan of like The Raid Redemption and The Raid 2 and you want to see something that is kind of like in the same, like this is not like the Gareth Evans that directed those 2 films, but you see hints of that in this film, especially with like the way certain shots were done and the way that certain aspects of like the shots were done, especially in the very end of the film. You could see a lot of like the future of Gareth Evans as a director, and this is like a stepping stone in his career, and I hope he does more films and in the future, because I really like this director as a director. And this is a really solid film. Very fast paced. It has runs like the same amount as the film that I reviewed just a few hours ago, Frankenstein's Bloody Nightmare, hour and 16 minutes. It's the same length. It's very fast paced, and the aesthetic of the emotions of the characters are developed, and the other characters that interact are really great. So, other than that, I'm babbling on now. If I had to rate it, it's getting a solid 7.5 out of 10. Really awesome film from for a directorial debut of a director that I really respect his action films that he does today, and I really enjoyed his little shorts that he does, like especially like the VHS segment that he did was really awesome. It's probably one of my favorite segments of that whole series. So yeah, 7.5 out of 10 for Footsteps. I highly recommend it, especially if you're a fan of this director and you want to see something a little different that he did. Like I said, another thing I forgot to mention, even though like this does involve like the snuff area of like the underworld, they don't really show a lot of snuff things. I forgot to mention that, but I wish they did kind of explore it a little more. But they do explore like the characters involved in it. Like there's the seedy cameraman and just the pushers and the body dumpers and stuff. So other than that, yeah, it's a solid watch. 7.5 out of 10 for Footsteps. Awesome shit. Alright guys, that's it for my first bonus review. You'll be seeing a few more of these during the month. It depends on where I'm going to place them or what films I watch, and if it's not a film that I already reviewed, of course. So I'll see you then, and I'll see you tomorrow with Day 12 official. See you then, peeps. Peace out.